Welcome to the 928 Update with your hometown agent, me, Sarah Allen. I'm here again with Greg Riordan of New American Funding. So Greg, your last newsletter was really great, and I thought the headline was so fantastic that I wanted to discuss it today. Sure. And that was, just when you thought they were gone, all-time low rates are back. So talk about that.
It's incredible, really. Rates are so low. We are probably in the biggest refinance boom and purchase boom we've ever seen in the mortgage world or real estate world. Rates right now, and this will be different by the time this comes out, this video, but I mean, 15 years, I've seen it as low as 2.5%, 30-year 3.125 to 3.25. I mean, unprecedented rates, lower than when we thought rates were before they were low, after 2008 through 2011. But a lot's gone into that. Many people think that the Fed funds rate drives mortgages. It's really a misnomer. Or that rate is the government allowing them, corporate institutions or financial institutions, to borrow money overnight to float their liabilities and back and forth. Right. So really what's driving rates is the economy. We're in a recession since February of this year. 25 million people are unemployed. It's about 13 to 16%, depending on how you look at that with the protection payroll and the layoffs. So that's a 3% difference. So the recession since February and all that unemployment, coupled with the fact that the 10-year treasury has fallen from 1.85 to 0.5 to 0.7%. That's huge. So what really drives mortgage rates too is the fact you got to look at mortgage-backed securities. Those are basically our mortgages that we bundle and sell to secondary markets, the investors. And right now, the only investor truly is the government. They're buying about $4.5 billion a day. That's down from $75 billion a day back in March. So those are huge numbers, and how those trade and purchase versus the 10-year treasury yield. So we have to watch the 10-year treasury bond, if there's up and down movement, and then as they're up and down movement by mortgage-backed securities, and how are those trading against each other. And that's really what's driving rates.
So something I find really interesting that I get a lot of from my clients is they hear 0% Fed rate and they think that all of a sudden their mortgage rate is at 0%. Yeah. But you're here to tell us that is incorrect.
That is incorrect. I mean, it's good news because they said through the end of 2022, the Feds are going to keep it around 0% or at 0%. That's good for big financial institutions borrowing money from the Feds overnight. It has nothing to do with your mortgage rate.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I think what you're trying to say is this is a really good time actually for buying because we are at all-time low rates. And I am a part of that refinance boom. I was amazed at the rate that we were getting compared to what we bought in 2017. And I'm very happy that you're able to do that for us.
Yeah,
so,
my pleasure.
So you talk about low interest rates, and let's translate that into who's buying and how many mortgages are being purchased at this time.
Sure. Year over year, compared to last year, mortgage purchase applications are up 21%. That's huge. This refinance boom from last year, we're up 106% nationally.
Wow.
So, I mean, when I said we were in an unprecedented environment, a lot of mortgage companies are feeling that capacity because they're maxed right now. Yeah. But it's really encouraging to see because people, are pulling some with these refinances. Some people are pulling money out to buy another home, to invest, to upgrade, to downgrade. It's really great to see that people still want a place to live and are looking to do so today. Right.
So I was having this conversation with a buyer the other day, and they were talking about the concern of buying at a peak season with low interest rates versus lower season but a higher interest rate. So why don't we touch base on that?
Sure. I mean, as we spoke about earlier, your purchase power is greater. But I think we're in a much different economy than we were in 2006, 7, 8 when there was a housing recession and a housing crash. Today, interest rates are low, but there's a shortage on inventory. So we're seeing, values, as you're well aware, consistently increase, maybe not at a robust return, but on a moderate return, maybe 5%, 7% increase in value, which tells us that things are very stable. Having that inventory shortage is much different than 2008 when we had a big inventory and everything crashed.
Right.
When you have a shortage, there's still a huge demand.
Right. So important to understand that.
Yeah. What about holding that investment? If you're thinking today, what's a good feel for jumping in and buying if you're on the fence? What do you think?
Well, I think it's really important to understand what you're going to be doing in that home. Is it an investment property? Is it a first-time home purchase that you plan on raising your family in? And really have a goal and a plan going into the purchase. I think if you're going to look for a return on the property, it's very important to maintain a 5-year plan within that home. And that covers the cost that you put into it, any fees if you're going to use a realtor, and just a good return on investment. So I usually say about 5 years. Another thing to think about in regards to the time frame that you're going to be within the home is if there is some sort of housing market crash, you're going to be in that home a little bit longer. So think maybe 5 to 8 years or 5 to 10 years, specifically if we go into a housing market crash to where you're going to get that return on investment. It takes time. It takes time with everything, and you have to understand that going into it. Thank you so much for speaking with us again today. If someone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best method?
Give me a call on my cell phone, and all my information will be posted somewhere on here.
Okay, great. Thank you. Stay classy, Prescott.